ETF Inspector. It's Thursday, July 3rd, and this is the early edition because markets closed early and all the information came out. So this video will be for YieldMax weekly paying funds, ULTY, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, and LFGY, the Crypto Industry Tech Portfolio Option Income ETF. Reminder, I'm on X. It lets you know when videos come out. Just like this, today's video will be early due to the early close and me wanting to get my long weekend started. So follow me on there just if you want, heads up on videos or reposting of things. And a reminder to stay tuned to the end. If you usually click off early, there's a dad joke at the end of each video. So we're up to almost 1,200 subscribers, so doing well. All right, let's get into it and take a look. In general, it was pretty mixed day. Good mixture of red and green as we look across. ULTY itself went up after the initial drop from paying the distribution. Right, we have our closing point and then our opening point, and then we went up from there. Same thing, I believe, as far as LFGY is concerned. Yep, not as drastic of a drop, but moved up a little bit from the starting point. Obviously ended at 41 after taking out the 46 cents, so what nav erosion. Okay, we will get a little deeper into it. So we take a look. I might have already closed it. Had all our trades, right? We download the trades. It came out about 2 hours after the market closed, so that's why we're able to get it early, because the market closed at 1. ULTY had 98 trades, I counted earlier, and then LFGY goes from 269 to 339, so 70 trades. So we got, what I say on the first one, roughly 170 trades to go through. We'll get through them quick though. This video goes a little faster since it's the last day of the week, because we're not so worried about where the options sit going into the weekend. Okay, so ULTY, we'll start with the trades. They put money to work, right? We talked about however many million outstanding shares got added yesterday, so they take that money and they put it straight to work. It doesn't get to relax at all. So we bought more shares of almost everything in the fund. There were a few they left out for one reason or another. I don't know. Okay, and then from there, so we don't count these as a loss, right? All these are negatives, but that's not a trading loss. You put your money in, they put it to work. They bought shares with it. That's not losing money. So we don't count that towards our trading profit and loss. Okay, AMD, they just sold some more puts and bought some more, so they added to their put spread that they already have, collecting 22,000. AppLovin, this is a roll, right? Bought the close. They're 345s and 357.50s for 13 and 38 cents. They sold next week at 342.50 and 347.50, collecting $6.5 to $7.5 a share. So an overall win of almost 650,000 profit there. AST Space Mobile. So a lot of these, any of these two-liners are just they bought more shares, so they're going to go ahead and create an options position equivalent to what they bought. So that's what the case for ASTS and Coin, just selling more options to go with it, collecting 20,000 and 44,000. First Solar, this one hurts. This is a roll. They closed the 170s for today, paying $17.19 a share. And then they sold 192.50s for next week, collecting $4. Then there's a little bit extra, right, because of they also closed 167.50s. Now that doesn't make any sense. Why'd they pay $17 to close 170s and 85 cents to close 167.50s? Did First Solar have a crazy day of movement? Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you guys expected me to do beforehand, huh? But we will look at it. Something doesn't make sense. There's no point in the day where they would have been able to pay 85 cents to. Oh, I'm sorry. There's the mistake. These are for the 11th that they closed, so that's why. Still doesn't make sense though. Okay. Either way, we're gonna move on. So sold more shares and then also sold more options to go along with the additional shares purchased, but that cost them $2.7 million. So that one's going to basically rule our whole trading day. Robinhood closed out next week's 100s, or no, we sold next week's 100s after closing next week's 105s. So we kept the same closing date, but we dropped them down by $5 a share, and that allowed us to pick up an extra 70 cents a share. Plus we added some more with the new shares, collecting 591,000. IonQ just selling more options to go with the new shares, $86,000 profit. And I say selling, but they're also buying the put, the other side of the collar strategy. But we're just not that interested in. That's just protecting the share price. That's the reason we don't have NAV erosion anymore. So $86,000 profit. LabVIEW, they closed out 61s for this week. They sold 65s for next week, along with additional ones from the new shares. $97,000 profit. Mara, MicroStrategy, Oklo, Palantir, Reddit, and Rigetti is all just selling more options to go with the new shares, profiting 40,000, 29,000, 32,000, 46,000, and 18,000 and 39,000. RH, they added to their option-only position that they have, right? We don't own shares of RH anymore, but they have a debit call spread, so they buy these. Is RH a 180 or a 2 or a 18? 180. Okay, so they're buying 180s and they're selling 215s. So that one costs us 224,000. That's for next week. SMCI, we're closing out this week's 49s, selling 52s for next week, along with more for the extra shares. Right, paying 21 cents to close them. Got to roll them up and out and still collect the profit. That's nice. $164,000 profit. SMR, that's a New Scale and Tempest AI. Just selling more options to go with the new shares purchased. $16,000 and $20,000 profit. TQQQ, this one went against us, but the close are 81s for today and 83s, paying almost $3 and about $1.80 a share. Sold 86s and 87s for next week for about $1.20, so $719,000 loss. Tesla and Upstarts just selling more options of the standard strategy to go with the new shares, $24,000 and $66,000 profit. And then VRT, Vertiv Holdings, and VST, Vistra Corp, same as RH, right? They have debit call spreads, so they just bought more into the debit call spread, so they spent another $165,000 and $198,000. The only thing the caveat for those two in RH is these aren't losses. That's their investment, right? They're buying a debit call spread, so that's kind of like putting the money in, and then we'll see how much we get out on the other side. So it's not necessarily a loss, but whatever. It's negative. It's money spent, so we'll call it that for now, and hopefully it works out for a win next week when we close it. Okay, so as we look at it, trading, profit and loss, we lost $2 million in trades today. We also, as you can see, we're about to talk about, increased in value by $6.1 million. All right, if you're new here, we generally will spend a little bit more time talking through what I'm about to, but since we're going into a long weekend, you don't care what these options are sitting in or out of the money for tomorrow. That's usually I'm setting you up to watch how things go tomorrow. So we won't talk about any of these options because I will do a week look ahead video during the weekend, and then we will, because technically all these trades that you see, they're not represented on this page yet, because everything you do today, it comes out on tomorrow's holdings download. So everything that's on this side of the page was current before the market started today, but it's now outdated. So I can't update that until tomorrow. So with no trading left until next Monday, we don't need to dig into all that. So we will just talk about how the stocks went and increases in value, okay? So we don't own any shares of AMD, so we're not really concerned whether that doesn't change our market value. AppLovin went up 1.68% to 341.64, and we'll just total all these up at the end. Maybe we'll highlight like the big moves. AST Space Mobile lost 0.25% to 45.60. Coinbase up 0.38 to 355.80. First Solar's the big winner over here in ULTY today, up 8.5% to 185.03. Yeah, that hurts when your call was at 170. So that brought in, well, that didn't bring in, that increased the value by 2.6, almost 2.7 million. Robinhood right next to it, the big loser, but they were due. I mean, they've been on a crazy run. 3.65% decrease to 94.40, still very high if you looked at it a week ago. A $1.8 million decrease in value. IonQ down 0.8 to 44.39. LabU up about 1.5% to 61.60. Mara Holdings up or down almost 0.8% to 17.66. These guys were sitting around 14 or 15 for the longest time. MicroStrategy up 0.4 to 403.99. Oklo up 4.66% to 53.72. So a lot of these already got rolled earlier in the week. Palantir up 1.7 to 134.36. So everybody that's in Palladi's probably happy, including me. Reddit down 1.58% to 156.83. Rigetti Computing up 2.83% to 13.45. RH went to 206.59, but again, we don't own shares, so it doesn't change our value. We just have an option spread on it. SMCI down 0.37% to 48.56. NewScale up almost 2% to 35.91. Tempest AI up over 3% to $60.99. TQQQ up 2.8% to 84.81. Tesla down 0.1% to 315.35. And Upstart up 0.59% to 73.82. Vertiv and Vistra Corp, I believe they were both up. Well, we can tell. No, we can't. 127.84 and 192.07. Okay, so all of those increases and decreases totaled up to a $6.1 million increase in value of the fund. So again, like I said, if you're new, I explain all the colors and everything like that, and we talk a whole lot more into that if there's a trading day coming up. But since we're going into the weekend, we're going to try and get this video finished quickly. ULTY closed at 627. Is that right? I just started trusting the automatic. Let's see, now that says 628. I don't know. Maybe they know something we don't know. But added shares again, 1.6 million. So we're up to 124,125,000 outstanding shares. 770 million plus or minus, right? So that's going to be, there's going to be an increase based off the $6 million value increase. There's going to be a decrease based off of the trading loss, and then there'll also be whatever based on if more people bought into or sold out of the fund. So we will find all that out tomorrow with the holdings download. All right, that's it for ULTY. Let's keep it moving and go over to LFGY. We'll start with the trades. So they started out, they just sold a small portion. This is every stock or ETF within the fund. They sold some of everything, anywhere from 48,000 at the low to looks like 448,000 at the high, and everywhere in between. So maybe if I get to talk to them, I'll be able to ask one day, you know, what's the point of these little miniature sales? Because I don't think we didn't have a decrease in outstanding shares. So this might have been to generate income to pay out that distribution. We'll see. Okay, we don't go through every trade, every stock within this fund, because there's some literally as low as a $3 trade, and I'm not going to bore you with those. So I have only, call it highlighted, I've only laid out the ones that were rolls to next week. Everything else has already been rolled, and these are just little miniature trades. A lot of these are just closing out the options that went along with however many shares got sold. Okay, so BitDeer rolled today. They closed 1150s for next week and sold 15s for next week, paying $228, $241, and only collecting 37. So that was a $422,000 loss. Core Scientific closed their 1750s for today, paying 18 and 11 cents. So that was a win. Sold 19s for next week at 47 cents, $54,000 profit. NVIDIA, they closed their 155s expiring today, paying $340 and $470, and they rolled them 2 weeks out. So those are for the 18th at $165 to collect $2.10 a share, $79,000 decrease or loss actually. And then PayPal closed out their 75s for today, and they sold 79s for next week, taking a loss, $89,000. That's it as far as full-on rolls. The rest are just closing out shares to go along with the sold shares. So that resulted in a $605,000 loss on the trading day. So as you can see, it was a losing trading week, but it was a increase in value. That's the reason the price of our fund overall went up. So on the week look ahead / guesstimate video that will come out this weekend, I will total these up. I'll give you an estimate. I'll update, and this goes the same for ULTY. I'll update all the IVs so we can get an accurate estimate. Okay. LFGY ended at 41.08. Again, I feel like that was a couple cents different than what we saw. See, that says 41 even. So I don't know how much maybe it's like looking at after hours or what, but everything will settle out. Okay, so BitDeer was the big winner over here, up 5.28%. I didn't go through and put the colors on this one as far as what was rolled. You don't care. Basically everything we just talked about. So you just want to know how they did today. We'll talk about the options in the week look ahead. Okay, they went up to 13.77. Clean Spark down 1.84% to 12.25. And if you're curious how much each one changed in market value, it's just right here to the right. I just stopped reading it line by line. It seemed like it was making the videos drag out too long. Coinbase, like we said in the last portion, went up 0.38% to 355.80. Core Scientific up over 2.5% to 18 even. Galaxy Digital down 2.12% to 21.75. GameStop down 1.17% to 23.67. Robinhood, the big loser on this side, 3.65% decrease to 94.40. Hut 8 Corp up almost 4%, 3.89 to 21.90. iBit, we don't trade options. It's just the shares themselves went down 0.37% to 62.19. Mara Holdings down 0.79% to 17.66. Again, we have MBTX. We don't own shares of them, so their change doesn't increase or decrease our market value. But they went to 258.74. That's notable. Their options are out for 2 weeks from now, and they're only 0.5% out of the money, so we need them to sit flat for 2 weeks straight. Good luck with that. Mercado Libre up 1.7% to $2,514.05. MicroStrategy up 0.43% to $403.99. NU Holdings up 0.85% to $13.61. NVIDIA up 1.33% to $159.34. Opera down 0.5% to $19.98. So there's another one. These options are already out till the 18th, and they are 0.1% out of the money. PayPal up 0.37% to 76.59. Riot Platforms down 0.25% to 12.17. Tesla down 0.1%. Can't talk, to 315.35. And Block down just a fraction to 69.20. 2 cents they went down. Overall, the value of the fund increased by $369,000. So this is an odd day. So generally, you have a big win to line up with a big loss. Right, so you made a lot of money there, $5 million, and you lost $2 million trading. Usually, then on a made money on the trading day is a loss in share value. So what we're seeing happen this week is that because a lot of things have already been rolled to the following week, whether they go up or down in value didn't have as much of an effect on the trading because they didn't necessarily have to roll them if they went up too much, and they weren't going to close them even if they dropped because there's still too much time value. So that's going to be the reason. So basically, your stocks that you had still left that needed to be rolled went up and cost you money, while your stocks that are further out went down. So you didn't make very much increase in value, and at the same time couldn't take advantage of it by closing things out. Hope that makes sense. If not, that's okay. Outstanding shares increased by 50,000 to 3,675,000. We're getting ever so close to $150 million managed in the fund. And that is just about it. So stay tuned this weekend. Right, got a handful of videos. There will be the week review / week look ahead and guesstimate for the individual income funds that I cover. There will be a video for my trades, my personal trades. I finally have a winning week after 2 losing weeks in a row, so you can check out just everything I was trading and how I did. And then there will be this video, the ULTY LFGY guesstimate and week look ahead video, so we can see all the price ranges we're looking for, all the stocks within it to trade for us to have the best week possible. Okay, I hope everybody has a great 4th of July, and only thing left is the dad joke. Now I can't remember if I just saved this joke so I could tell it later, or if I already told it. So if this one's familiar from a couple weeks ago, I apologize. But so before I tell the joke, just thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support, all the comments. Everybody's been great. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. Share it with other people that are into ULTY and LFGY. Okay, dad joke of the day. How much does a rainbow weigh? Nothing. It's pretty light. Okay, have a great 4th of July, everybody.